everybody, it's Lisa Newman. How are you? So today I want to talk to you about love letters. Not the kind that we were just looking for on Valentine's Day a few days ago, but a love letter to a seller. I know that this market is crazy. You know that this market is crazy. And buyers are trying to take advantage of any tool that they can to get in front of the sellers and try and get the sellers to move their way when there are multiple offers on a property. You're probably aware that we are in pretty much a seller's market right now, early 2022. We'll see how long this is going to last. It seems like it's going to be for a while. And we are still getting multiple offers on most properties, not all, but most properties, and buyers are doing everything they can to really solidify their position with the seller. One of the tools that they're using is something called a love letter, and this is something where basically a buyer says, "Dear Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I love your house. It's the best house ever. And I am just going to love living there with my wife and my 2 kids and my puppy dog. And I just can't believe the yard and the beautiful bay window that you have." And you know what I'm talking about here. The problem is that there are very few instances where one of these letters might not run into discrimination in the Fair Housing Act. And what I mean by that is there are rules in place, and that we as realtors, the nation as a whole, but we as realtors definitely are not allowed to discriminate. We are not allowed to discriminate for a number of things. We can't discriminate against race, color, national origin, religion, sex, familial status, and disability. Those are the federal ones that we are not allowed to utilize in any decision-making process that a seller may be having. Didn't say that too clearly, but you understand what I'm saying. And the issue with the love letters is that how do you write a letter that isn't going to have your familial status, whether or not maybe you have a disability, your race might come into it, your religion might come into it. Can't talk about a Christmas tree in the window. You can't talk about walking to temple because the house is right down the block. You can't speak about the 6 children that you have and how excited you are to homeschool them in the basement that's finished. Do you see where we're getting into trouble here? So I know that they are being frowned upon. And there now are a lot of agents who are no longer actually accepting them. They are talking to their sellers. They're explaining the situation and how the seller could kind of be put into a precarious situation as their agent as well, if indeed they end up taking an offer that they have maybe been swayed to one way or the other because of a letter that was written, which maybe something was spoken in there that made them feel like, oh, they're one of us. See where I'm going here? Not a good idea. So as a buyer, I know you're doing everything you can out there, and trust me, I've got all the tools in the toolbox. I am ready to go. A love letter is not necessarily the way to go. So there may be instances where we can get a letter from your lender, maybe, especially if you are going to be taking out a mortgage, talking about what a great client you're going to be and a strong client in terms of getting the financing in place. Perhaps if you do feel the need to say something, it can be specifically about the house. Dear Mr. and Mrs. Lender, dear Mr. and Mrs. Seller, we really appreciate, or I really appreciate, all of the improvements that you have made over the year. It shows a love for the home. You see what I mean? However, you can't say anything personal. So at this point, there are a lot of agents and a lot of sellers who are asking that none be put forth. So if in the business of putting out an offer on a property, if your agent says to you, no love letters, they're not accepting it, understand that there's a reason for that. And it is likely coming from the seller and the seller's agent, and they're doing right by everybody. They're keeping the playing field level, even, and fair. So if you have any questions, please feel free to give me a call, text me, email me, call me, whatever you'd like to do. I am here for you. It's Lisa Newman with the Newman Group and Remax on the Move. Love letters. Keep them for Valentine's Day, people. Have a great one.